in the lead up to the 2024 election, there was such a big burst of it with so many people who were thought of as unaffiliated coming out and saying that yes, I'm here, I'm there. For me, I would prefer a society where 95% of people are identified.
Sometimes the person is advocating for the opposition because he feels that, look, this government has been there for all this while, I'll not get anything. There's nothing to gain here. So let me just, hit hard.
We are the youth. We need to change the narrative. You see, over the years, there is this thing they always call, if someone tries to do something out of the norm, they say, oh, he's not politically correct.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Hello and welcome to CDD-Ghana Youth Unplugged podcast, where views shape social discourse among Ghana's emerging youthful population. Now, the big conversation today, social media has become that ever-evolving platform where national debates take center stage and hashtag become the new platforms where political positions are taken. Today on the show, we'll be delving into all the big conversations around persons who for some reason appear as neutral but behind the veil have their own political leanings. We'll be looking at that and more and how that affects the political discourse, especially among young people. My name is Jude Duncan, and again, you're welcome to CDD-Ghana's Youth Unplugged podcast. This is proudly brought to you by the IDRC in collaboration with CDD-Ghana, and we'll be delving into all the issues pretty shortly. It's important I mentioned to you that the views here are entirely our views and doesn't represent that of CDD-Ghana. I'll move on to introduce my guest pretty shortly and we'll delve into the conversations. Of course, I have my wingman. He's always, right next to me,
Yeah, man.
as I am to him.
Yeah,
and
man.
Kweku Asante.
Yes.
Charlie.
Big conversation. I like the conversation a lot because Charlie, in the lead up to the 2024 election, there were so many voices on social media that I'd seen. And then
All of a
now
sudden.
all of them are coming out, and it's almost like in the America when they say people are coming out,
Yeah.
like they're gays or this or that.
No, I like the way already all guns blazing,
coming out and they start
So wait.
wow, okay.
Let me introduce my other guests, then we'll just delve straight into the conversation. Kelvin Jima done a lot of work within the space among young people, mobilizing them, for political reasons sometimes.
Yeah.
Great to have you. Welcome to the Youth Unplugged podcast.
Thank you, Jules.
Amazing.
Happy to be here.
Also joining Kelvin and Kweku and myself is Shabir Khalid, a lawyer and also a youth advocate, I'm sure. Khalid, welcome to CDD Youth.
Thank you very much,
Unplugged.
Jude.
Amazing.
Happy to be here.
Same. Kweku,
Yeah,
set it rolling for us.
Charlie. So I think it's very interesting because if you look at the way our social setting is, Jude, we all grow up in families, and usually by the time you come of age, you realize that your family, either your father's side, your mother's side, may be tilted towards a certain part of it, okay? And then as you grow up, you begin to form your own independent political thoughts. Not everyone own it, publicly at least. People are die-hard political enthusiasts, but then coming up, a lot of them really prefer that they will be on the low. But like I was saying, in the lead up to the 2024 election, there was such a big burst of it with so many people who were thought of as unaffiliated coming out and saying that this, I'm here, I'm there. And they just didn't say that. They came out all guns blazing.
Yeah.
They came to work for their respective political parties. I think it's very interesting and it's fascinating for me that, for me, I would prefer a society where 95% of people are identified. Because when I hear you speak, I want to be able to know where you're coming from. Of course, that is not to say that people cannot be objective. There are so many people who belong to NDC, MPP, PNC, or the newly founded UP.
Did you have to bring them in?
Well, yeah. It's
Do you have a youth organizer?
Well, I'm sure they do because now they have a general secretary, they have a
Yeah,
they have a national chairman, body chief, and all that. So it's interesting, and I mean, it's fascinating. I always want to know at what point these people decide that, listen, I'm going to go out guns blazing. And for some of them, maybe through test contain, and then they begin to find their bearings or that. It's a really fascinating talk. For me.
Let me come to you, Kelvin, right?
Yeah.
So we look at the data, the Afrobarometer survey, I think round 10,
Okay.
where it spoke about the involvement of young people in politics. So, despite a very digitally active youth population, we realize, or if you look at the numbers, you see that less and less of the youth are actively involved in our democratic
Democratic
processes.
process. Yeah.
And that was also similar when the NCC, did their survey as well. Does it come to you as a shock that you are in the community mobilizing, youth mobilizing space? Is it surprising to you that despite the active numbers online, young people are not actively involved in daily democratic,
Yeah.
issues?
I think those reports or research is a confirmation of something I've known for quite a while. And it's not just in Ghana, but is also showing in the United Kingdom as well. A situation where people feel that they have, a particular political party that they presume or feel has not met their needs. And then the other choice is a former president that for young people, maybe they may not have experienced his reign, but have heard a lot of stories about. And for others, they may have experience. So enthusiasm levels may be measured. That obviously will result in the participation being on a decline. And also, I think the broader context within Africa showcases, let's say, a lack of youth participation across the board. The funny thing is, I'm actually writing a book on this particular topic. And in several Africa countries, in Zimbabwe, there was a period where the inflation got to a point where their currency didn't even make people needed bags. Ghana must go bags to go and buy yam. So young people are looking at all of these experiences and are wondering, are these leaders really serious? And then also you have a situation where information is readily available now. The digital age is bringing new information. They are looking at things on Instagram and then seeing the lifestyle of other young people across the world. And then they look at the situation in Ghana. They look at the lifestyle of the political class. And then they are wondering whether these leaders really mean business. Now, before you finish your press statement, someone can quickly fact check you without being a journalist. It's real time now, right? So if you are bullshitting them, they know. They know, they can feel it. So now young people are seeing most politicians as jokers, if I should put it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a big conversation around coming out, in different, it has different, meanings for whichever space you're in. So I'd want us to look at it from a political angle. But let me come to you, Shabro.
Yeah.
Social media is largely seen as the biggest civic discourse space. But of course, there are major concerns about regulatory, issues. Do you perceive it to be an issue, for example, when people are on social media, usually with loud following, but we are not really sure what kind of message they are putting out? As a young person in the space, is this something that worries you?
Well, I think looking at the way social media is now and the kind of influence it pushes now, especially with influencers who have large following, I think we should be a bit worried with what we should be a bit worried with what kind of message they put out there. Whilst I'm saying that, I'm also looking at it from an angle where we have many responsible young people in the system, many people who do the right thing. So tying it into this conversation, I think the main issue we should be looking at is having principled young people. That's what we should be looking at. Principle is the main thing. We should avoid having young people who are fanatics. So for instance, if I am NDC or I'm MPP, I can be MPP, NDC, but then call out my party when they are wrong. We let the leaders know that, look, we are the young people. I support the party, but this particular position is wrong. Well, when you keep supporting them, they know that no matter what. But
is it possible to stand up to such authority with the way our systems, our political systems work? How the level of ostracization when you have a different view, even among senior party people, it's difficult for them to take such an entrenched position.
Yeah, that's what
How
I'm
much
saying
among people?
I'm saying that we need to change the narrative. We are the youth. We need to change the narrative. You see, over the years, there is this thing they always call if someone tries to do something out of the norm, they say, "Oh, he's not politically correct."
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? There shouldn't be politically correct or
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
There should be what is wrong and what is right.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that you are doing something wrong, a leader is doing something wrong, and I'm calling him out. So because of that, I'm not politically correct. I think those are conversations we should have. Young people like us need to be very firm. We need to be principled. If you are coming up as a young politician and you are not bold enough to speak truth to power, I don't think that is you have no business being in
Yeah.
that space. What we have encouraged over the years is bootlickers and ass lickers who grow up and then occupy positions and then expect people to also come and
Absolutely.
bootlick them and
Yeah.
ask. So that's what the system has
So we
done.
should
then
veer
the cycle.
off the norm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's very fascinating what he says about principle.
Yeah.
Because for me, and even before you get us to zoom right into the very heart of this,
Yeah.
it is really about principle, is it not? So that doesn't matter whether you're MVP, NDC, openly or privately, because if we are all trying to build a country for ourselves, we're all trying to build a space that works for me, you, not just the people in power, then obviously we need people to be consistently critiquing the system for it to work.
Yeah.
Because the system evolves, and Ghana, we've not had it all figured out. So we have a couple of issues here and there. So people must speak out. So sometimes leaders may even mean well, and they may set out on a certain path, but a couple of issues may come up, especially because of the space we built. People listen more internally. So chances are, if more NPP people are speaking to President Kufuor and telling him that, listen, for instance, at the time e-levy came,
Yeah.
if people were not so dogmatic about it and said, oh, e-levy is going to cure cocoa and everything that it is going to fix, it's going to cure
kick-
the
with the
headache,
kicks
it's
and
going
all
to
that.
do everything. But people within told him that, listen, because right after the party lost, the same people started finding their voice and started saying, oh, maybe we should have. Recently I had an interview with a former MP who is running for general secretary. He was telling me about all the wrongs about e-levy. But he was in parliament on the day he was passed. He swore high
Heaven and earth.
hell and heaven.
So that's the
and
lack
said he was
of
going to do it.
principle
Exactly.
you are
So
speaking of.
if you don't have principle, ultimately where you are, and so I think we should encourage more people to be openly affiliated with either side of the political divide.
Interesting.
However, you must do so with principle.
Yeah, and then let me even add an example. Take someone like Martin Amidu.
Yeah.
When he was Attorney General, when he was a minister, his colleagues knew.
I think it was a one-time running mate.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
His colleagues knew he was a principled person. I don't think you go to Martin Amidu with any rubbish. Well, his colleague, that's the standard he had set for himself. And I think those are standards that young people need to set for themselves.
Interesting. Let me come to the issue around emerging voices in the digital space who have become, a force of a sort. Would you say for some of these people we've seen in the past year and the build up to the election, right, in 2024, coming out to declare their political standing is something that should be a non-negotiable? And let me still stay with you, Shabro.
Yeah.
So you know some of the voices within the space who were leading the protests from behind, from the front. We've seen some of them now quietly enter into government. Some of them are still in opposition. Will you say for such people it's important that during the process of mobilizing, they tell us and be frank where their allegiances lie?
So I think it also depends because they are influencers, they need to be very careful with what they do. For example, there's this guy in Kumasi called Amaru Shako.
The guy who talks about the bridges that are spoiled and all that.
Yeah,
So
community issues.
I like watching his content a lot because with him, I saw him recently, criticizing government on Galamsey. He called out an NDC, what's his name? He's a constituency chairman whose
Right.
wife was supposedly
Involved
DC
in
or
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Involved. And this is somebody people called out because they thought he was fighting the previous government because he wanted a change. But there's a new government in power and he's going about
So
there's
consistency.
But where you have people who have hidden interests, that's where the problem is. There are people who gain their track. So let me say they defraud the youth with all this. Or I'm a
Under
neutral.
false pretense.
I'm just fighting because of the interest of the youth and all that. Meanwhile, they have hidden agendas.
Yeah.
Taking money from politicians behind the scenes and then pushing agenda. That's what we should do.
That's
We should not
that's
encourage
the
that
problem for you.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
the problem.
Kelvin,
Yeah.
You agree with Shabir largely?
Yes, I think it fits into the principal conversation. And like we were talking earlier, I put down a point that you see that video they do a few moments later.
Yeah. You can do so for so many of these so-called influencers, right?
Exactly. It is one of the things that has really defined our political space now. And increasingly, it's making young people doubt the political class a lot more. But the other thing that we are also not talking about is that when you have a country where the political class is the richest class at the expense of the business class, you have a major problem. So young people are looking for means to survive.
Yeah.
So sometimes the person is advocating for the opposition because he feels that, look, this government has been there for all this while. I'll not get anything. There's nothing to gain here. So let me just, hit hard. A new party comes in and like, oh, there's opportunity. I did some good work. Now it's time to, reap the benefits.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn it down. And then they go on and then reap the benefits. But that is where principles crumble. And that is where sometimes your question regarding whether they should showcase their party openly.
Lift the veil,
essentially.
Yeah, that is where it becomes a bit troubling because it's not really about the principles of the party. And again, there's been several conversations as to whether our parties really stay true to their political ideology. To hell with ideology.
The others who have said that, to be very frank, there's, across the divide, none of the party really have any hardcore ideological belief.
That's why they are all saying center right, center left.
Because
social,
hardcore left, right across the spectrum, none of them really stick to it. But interesting.
Precisely. And some of them don't even know what the ideology is.
Especially for young people.
So it's largely sometimes about bread and butter. Oh, this government gave me a job. Oh, this government did this. Okay, this couldn't do that. And then they take their positions. But I think as they begin to lose interest in the political space, it's down to the political class to now truly define what it means to be part of the political process.
Interesting.
But when the youth are hungry, sometimes ideology will not matter.
Interesting. So two major themes running through the initial remarks we've heard from all of you: consistency, principles. Interesting. I'll come to what the alternative would look like. Right, because you and I are saying if you intend to lead young people and mobilize and have a voice, you should let us know what your interests are, right? So then the other question or the other side of the coin will be, should we have partisan, influencers in merge, and does that even augur well for our dispensation? I'll come to you for what your views are. But this is CDD-Ghana's Youth Unplugged podcast. Charlie, we're unplugging the things, because clearly some things need to be removed. And like I said, we are unveiling or removing the veil from what some of these.
This guy, I don't know. Are you going to read some?
Talking about if we remove the veil, because people are hiding behind the mask to do some things. It's important we mention that this is brought to you by the IDRC, International Development Research Center, in collaboration with CDD-Ghana. All of the things you are saying is our personal views. Doesn't represent that of CDD-Ghana. We'll take a quick break. When we're back, there's a lot more. You're welcome back. This is CDD-Ghana's Youth Unplugged podcast. Today we are looking at a very big conversation. Wearing your jersey, right? It doesn't even matter. Should we police it? What are the real issues? All of that and more. Kevin.
Yes.
Like I said, first part, you spoke about principles, spoke about consistency. We all agreed. The question really now is, should we have emerging youth groups who say they are partisan and, they represent a particular ideology and carry through it, with issues, with regards to all issues around our democratic process, governance, all of the other things. You support such viewpoints?
Yeah, I think the view on that should be somewhat or partially, if I should put it that way, not a full-scale all youth groups being partisan, because sometimes you need a neutral voice.
So
if
we
I
leave
should
that
put
to
it
the
that way.
CEOs, for example.
No, you can't leave that to only CSOs. You should also leave that to community opinion leaders, community youth groups as well. They also can say things that are beyond the research or beyond the interest of donors. They will tell you what they face on the daily without any partisanship. But at the end of the day, what is the essence of politics? Why do you do politics? It is to empower people, improve the lives of the average Ghanaian. So if you want to take a partisan position, historically it's been because, okay, you feel that the country or the nation should develop across a certain line. But what we see now is not about that. It is purely bread and butter matters. And where some people are connected, that is where they move. Because look at student leaders across the board. There are some that start off as being for team A,
and then
when they find opportunity in team B, they switch. Why? they switch. they switch because I've been so they just move.
They just move like that.
Yeah.
No,
so they
zero
just
principles.
No.
Zero
it's got nothing to do with the ideology or anything.
It's
where can I rise faster? Where is it ready? Where can we get something going?
And we hear stories about some high-profile frontline Ghanaian politicians,
absolutely,
who started off as one particular party,
and then they switch.
And dude, isn't that even possible in and of itself?
That's what I'm going to
Because ideologies flip all the time.
Yeah.
People should be able to see that this is a political party I supported for 5 years, but they do not represent why I started supporting them, and they switch. Of course, if the reason is because of bread and butter, that is a matter that can be discussed. But then that also just reflects on the politics themselves, the politicians and the political class themselves, and what they've built.
Yeah.
Because my view about where your jersey is really is what is inherently wrong about supporting MPP or NDC.
I want to pose that question to Shabro. Yeah. We've seen your party come up with, or we've seen the NDC. You are affiliated to them, right? Yeah. Interesting. We've seen them come up with Young NDC Lawyers Forum. And there be people who said, hang on there a minute, like, what is all this about? Like, why are you as a young lawyer not interested in building your career, working in the interest of, the marginalized? The call happened a couple of months ago, right? The acting CJ was clear. Actually, build yourself, work for the vulnerable, work in the interest of the marginalized. Why are you joining NDC Young Lawyers Forum? For those who have a problem with that, are they justified?
No. Because why are you assuming that in that forum they cannot be doing all you're saying? Is it that when you now become an NDC lawyer, you can't do advocacy?
But your priorities change.
No. You don't say the priorities change.
No, their interest is now to the party.
No.
I think he's a member of the association.
No, I am. Oh, yeah, member of it.
But let me learn. The point is that
Kelvin wants your question answered. Are you a member of the association?
I'm a member of the NDC Lawyers Association.
Okay,
Yes,
really?
I'm a member. But the point is
You
that
paid dues.
why not?
Wow.
The issue is that whilst you are there, you do advocacy, you take pro bono cases. Is that not what lawyers are supposed to be doing? So what is wrong if now you attend, you group yourself? Because there's freedom of association under the Constitution. Yeah. So if you decide that we want to call ourselves this, but we still look on to do the core mandate of a lawyer, why not? There shouldn't be any issue.
The major
issues
criticism
here.
to that is you take stands that are usually party interest. So, for example, party over country.
National interest, not party interest.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, those who criticize the formation of these groups say, for you people, it's usually party over country and not the other way around.
But Jude, haven't you
Is
seen
that not problematic?
So before we have the Ghana Bar Association. We're talking about, because you're talking about lawyers. What has been the criticism of the Ghana Bar Association since, say, 1992, for instance?
They say that
hasn't the view
we are
always been
more
that,
loud when one party is
exactly
in
the
government.
view, despite being a so-called neutral organization, the view has predominantly been that.
But is it justified a criticism?
Exactly, whether it's justified or not is a matter that you
But
can
let
go
me
into.
burst your bubble. I am an Ahmadi Muslim. We have Ahmadi Lawyers Association. Is something wrong with that?
Yeah. What is inherently wrong about
There's nothing wrong with
partisanship?
that.
Yeah, but you see, there's a place for religion and there's a place for
Are you not saying that we are
issues
taking
As
away
Ahmed,
the
they always
poor
take an
man?
Ahmed view.
Ahmed
for
view on
instance.
issues.
we don't know. We don't know what you discussed in
you're
your
assuming.
in your circles. But the point is that when you are a lawyer and you have to deal with everyday issues, human rights, the concern is that usually, and don't forget, we're a democracy of only 30 years. We are still growing. So if it becomes party first, it's problematic. And I'm sure you agree. Are you telling me that we are in a space? No, my point is that 10 seconds, I'll let you come in. We see the way party communicators go about their business in this country. People go and sit on radio and they tell us that the election day tomorrow, the one party won't be on the ballot, so votes this. Then
Exactly.
I
think the problem is one second. You are viewing this as a public. One second. The job of a lawyer is not to sit on radio. Or
and I'm not even limiting it to just
exactly.
lawyers. It's lawyers who have formed the association.
Exactly.
This is for all professionals.
Exactly. So
to
the
be
job
fair.
of the professional is to be in the profession
And advocate.
do what it is.
But
that the
do we
profession
see
does.
that?
I'm coming.
Do we see that?
I'm coming. So if you're a medical doctor, whether you're MP or NDC, you have to show up at the hospital tomorrow and take care of people.
But
if you're a lawyer, no lawyer asks their client, are you MP or NDC before they go and represent
Yeah,
them.
but so for example, let's
let's
use the medical example.
No, I'm coming. Let me tell
Samuel,
you.
I'll let you come. This question, you are the one answering it. I'm just giving a
Come on,
prelude.
let me just
Go ahead.
So, for example, the NDC Lawyers Association.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything bad about NDC Lawyers Association?
I don't have to wait to hear something.
No,
bad
but you've
before
not
I can
heard. So
criticize.
the thing has been in
Are you
existence
saying
for a
that so
while.
we should wait?
Hold on.
We should
It has
wait
been-
for something
it has
bad
been
to
in
happen
existence.
before-
Hold on. It has been in existence for a very long time. You've not heard anything bad, but there are positives because
I've not heard the positives either.
Yes. How can you say you've not heard the positives?
I don't know.
But then, let me tell you why it's good for the so if I am an NDC and I'm a lawyer and my prayer is for NDC to come to power. I need to work to ensure that NDC comes to power. Just in the election recently, NDC lawyers were sleeping at polling stations. Ensure policing the ballot.
That is for their own peculiar, their
I'm telling
own.
you that it is
Their
their own national
If
interest.
an election is
If the
rigged,
election
and it
is
leads to
rigged,
violence,
But that's
it
not their
affects the
job.
entire
So the
country.
presence of
there's
lawyers
an
at the-
electoral commission and there's law enforcement responsible
So
for
why do-
securing
So why do
election.
why they allow for
No,
polling
yeah,
agents to
but,
be there?
but
Party agents
I
to
think
be
I
there.
support Jude on this matter
No, polling
because
agents' responsibility
the,
is not to secure ballot.
the-
boxes.
You go there to supervise the polling agents.
no,
and
the
say,
objective of the organization is in the name. Okay, so first, if you are NDC Lawyers Association, this NDC first. Let's have to understand that.
And it's
Now, NDC
a
has
given.
always had lawyers. Okay, in the MPP, for example, there's always volunteer groups. We have health volunteer groups. Doctors are in there. Lawyers volunteer groups. Lawyers are in there. But the moment you establish another organization, which is NDC Lawyers Association, it is problematic.
how
It is
it
problematic because
I don't buy that.
so I'm
No,
coming
how-
to
yeah,
that
yeah,
point.
let me
So
hear
it is problematic because as a country, we are already dealing with extreme partisanship on a lot of issues.
in the church.
Okay. And we are saying that this will further exacerbate the matter because then other professionals, when they decide to also set up associations, that will now be rivaling the neutral associations that exist. So NDC Lawyers Association says this, Ghana Bar Association says this, MPP
being
Lawyers
neutral-
Association says this.
how does that
Being
help
neutral-
discuss?
MPP Doctors Association
Being
says
neutral is very subjective.
Let me give you another
It's
example.
very
No,
subjective.
I'll come back
because-
to you.
No,
I'll come
no,
back to you.
Let me just
No,
land
the
on
other
this
time you
one. Let
cut
me
me.
land on this point.
I'm the host.
I'll lose my train of thought. Let me land on this point
Go
because
ahead.
being neutral is very subjective.
Yeah.
For a very long time, NDC lawyers in the NDC have
Yeah.
been. I know some of my seniors who have told me, look, since I got called to the bar, I feel I've been targeted by Ghana Bar Association. So because of that, I don't even go for bar conferences. And this is peculiar to most NDC lawyers. So because of that kind of feeling, they feel like, okay, let's come together. We have been marginalized for a while. Let's come together.
So are you
Is
saying
that the point? Is
NDC
that the
cannot
job?
have any
Is that
other
the-
strategy
And the
than
good
to
thing is
form an
that,
association?
and to prove to you,
Khalid,
you have never heard anything like,
No,
oh,
Khalid,
let's form an
Khalid.
MPP Lawyers Association.
Khalid, let's be serious here.
Because
Khalid,
they find their comfort zone in the bar association.
How so?
Is
How
that-
do you get saying that because MPP Lawyers Association does not
and we are not
exist?
they find their comfort zone there.
I said
we know that they find their comfort
But
zone
the
there.
law,
How so?
the law
We
has
know
a calling.
that they find.
How do you
I'm
know?
a lawyer. I'm a member of the Ghana
No,
Bar,
but
Dude, I think
and
we
I'm a
should
member of the
disaggregate-
NDC lawyers. And I'm
I'm
telling you
trying
that
to-
you
I'm
know
trying
the
to use a
bias.
different
Dude, I'm
example.
coming. Disaggregate this. One second. Disaggregate
Because-
this. You see, an association is a group of people who have similar interests. You have to look at it in that broader picture. So, when you have a bigger Ghana Bar Association, They are lawyers. That's why they have their interest.
The family
right?
wants
I'm
to
coming.
form law society.
Oh, no,
That's not,
There's
but
we
there's
know-
nothing wrong with it. He has formed
is
it.
there.
There's
You know,
nothing
but
wrong
we
with
know,
it.
And
we
then
know
it's
what
like-
the interests are.
How do you,
okay.
how do you know? How can you sit here and say you
But
know what
we
the
hear
interest
him
But I
speak
thought
on
you
the
said
issue.
you knew
So
what
No,
the
that's
Ghana
a
bar.
different one.
So you,
The NBC
the duty,
is different.
the duty of
But what
the,
Gafia Makwe, they are now forming that one because they said it, and they said it themselves that they are
No,
forming
but
to
it
rival the Ghana Bar Association.
But that's a problem.
Why is it a problem?
No, others have said that it's a problem because you know
is
the
never a
motives.
problem.
The motives are not nationalistic enough.
How do you? Is the Ghana Bar Association's is their position nationalistic on
Very
all issues?
nationalistic.
How is it
I
nationalistic?
think we must.
when
yeah.
when they have been flip flopping
You see,
on
can you-
national issues.
That is your opinion.
8 years of
I don't think.
MPP
I
in
don't
power.
think the
They went
current
to sleep.
executives will say that's a fair.
MPP
When
MPP
they
came
don't-
to
they
power,
don't-
and then
I
they
saw
said,
interviews
Dude,
of
I'm
the
coming.
president
no.
you see,
criticizing
so that
Ghana.
we don't even
Oh yeah.
8 years of MPP in power. Bar
Sorry.
Association went to sleep.
right. So that we
When
don't.
when
that's
when
not fair. That's not fair.
when
Yeah, they
spoke on
when
issues.
Charlotte
Yes,
when Charlotte Osei was being kicked out, they did, what was their contribution to it?
No, I think they spoke on it.
They
What
did
did
it.
they say?
I'll have to
What
dig
did
it
they
up,
say?
but I'm sure.
No,
they,
but
on
this time
other-
around,
on other issues,
they are owning the fight because
Whose
they are-
which fight have they
they are
owned?
owning the fight. The Chief Justice,
The
when
removal-
Chief- yes, they are owning the fight
Because you are taking on the chief justice.
What,
So
what,
what
but
I'm
Charlotte
saying-
Osei is a member of the bar. She's a lawyer. Do you know how many
No,
years
but that
Charlotte
is-
Osei
how
has
do
been a
you
member of the
compare- how
bar?
do you compare
Kali,
that to a
let
chief
Kweku
justice?
No,
come.
but
So-
hold on. Let me correct that.
Okay.
The Electoral Commission is an independent body created by the 1992 Constitution. It's one of the most important bodies we have in this country. So we can never belittle the position of the Electoral Commissioner. Because if the Electoral Commission is not even there, who elects them? How do we even get a president for the president to appoint the
Appoint the
Chief
Chief
Justice?
Justice. Okay.
So let's not belittle that. It's a very sensitive position. So for you to be able to remove somebody like that, and the bar was dilly-dallying, then
And in fact, the process is just like removing a superior
Exactly.
court judge. So Jude,
then
I'm
now
telling
they
you,
find issues.
I'm saying that. So at the risk of
30 seconds.
yes, at the risk of making this lawyers, doctors, again, it goes to the question I asked: what is inherently bad about being partisan and owning it?
Nothing.
So that when you look at it that way, whether or not there's an association of doctors who are partisan or to a certain political party, doesn't matter. Because you see, these are people who come together to protect their own interests. But if you look at a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, you have a particular core function, which you go about doing it every day. When you form an association of NDC nurses, what you do is what you want to do is how can we use our profession to help our political party? So you can do that. That's aside. But as a lawyer,
So
when
when
you turn
NDC
up
goes for
tomorrow,
Congress, the nurses should
exactly.
be there.
So in your
As a
view,
lawyer
so in
tomorrow-
your view, if there's a digital
When the NDC
creative
goes for Congress,
if there's a
the
digital
nurses and the
creative
doctors come there just in
who
case they are.
is leading protests against corruption, against Galamsey, and the associates belonging to one political party, you don't find that to be
there's
problematic.
absolutely nothing wrong with it because inherent in our constitutional right, human rights, is our ability to support political parties of our choice and express the views thereof. So actually, if I had the way, it goes back to the point I made earlier. People must be able to own their political views and be public about it.
Yeah.
I think we are better served as a society than the point that the gentleman made earlier on about people who surreptitiously
Yeah.
go under the cover of neutrality,
Defraud the
swindle
youth.
everybody else,
Defraud everybody.
and use everybody else's emotion as their political power.
I'll take final thoughts before you go, but I just wanted to say we're in this country where we saw the peak of Galamsey. I mean, it's still raging. It's still a major menace. And we expected some professional bodies to take the issue on seriously. The TUC, for example, Ghana Medical Association. And we all saw the response, right? And it's largely perceived to be as a result of where their leanings lied at the point. So if the argument then is that GMA can have MPP lawyers, and when MPP is in power, the association, is now dilly-dallying around
But
certain...
does that affect their core mandate? That's the question. Because if
so
you have a doctor,
I'm coming.
if you have a doctor or nurse
when,
who is
when
NDC,
we're being told
and then
that,
the
no,
person,
I'm coming, Khalid,
the
I'll
person
let you,
is
I'll
still
let you.
treating
No,
his
it's not
patients,
that.
right?
It's not that. They have a certain level of responsibility to guard public discourse. GMA were told Galamsey was affecting babies with deformities. That is the mandate of GMA. So if all of a sudden they became neutral and they didn't want to partake in
But
the
that goes to the
protest,
issue of principle that I talked about.
Maybe start
yeah,
with
by
what
seeing,
you
by
do
seeing,
NDC, you
so
have to be principled
a partisan, like Kelvin was saying, a partisan professional body or influencer or digital creatives group then exacerbates this problem we are trying to prevent of people shaking responsibilities or trying to change public opinion because of their political lead. And I think that is problematic.
So when it's easy and now
Very
that they're going to
problematic.
go on strike on Galamsey, there were certain people who were MPP or NDC, but they led the fight at the time. In fact, the MPP people within TSU at the time who said, listen, we must do this. But listen, we are almost just out of time, really. So I think there's a big conversation. People will keep talking about it, but I think people must.
So people should wear their jersey.
People should,
and they should wear the hose, the socks.
They should wear the boots.
They should wear the shin guard.
They should kiss the badge.
like Lamine Yamal does.
Exactly.
Don't even support the proper team. So
That's loyal.
I'm not. Sharo, 30 seconds. You said there's no problem with this.
There's no problem.
What's the way forward? How should we, in your view, do this in a way that doesn't then create the problems Kelvin is talking about?
I think, like I said before, it's a matter of principle. Let's just let the youth be principled. Let's forget about being fanatics. Let's not kiss ass. Let's grow up to be elderly people who can bring up young people who can also be principled. That's the main thing.
Interesting.
Being associated with NDC or MPP, it's nothing. It's just that when NDC does, if you're an NDC person, the NDC does something that is wrong, come out and speak to it.
Interesting. Your 30 seconds is up. Kelvin, I'll give you 1 minute
Okay.
to respond to Sharo and then 30 seconds for your closing remark.
I think that we must take our local, local situation into context. Okay?
Yeah.
We have a situation where in Ghana, when people are partisan, they are extremely partisan.
Yeah.
Okay, partisan to the
Even
extreme.
among chiefs.
They say
It's not
this seller
authority.
is NDC. I'll not buy from this person. You know, even school admissions
Even
can
businesses
be
collapse.
partisan. Businesses collapse because of partisanship. So, I mean, we have too many examples,
Yeah.
which I think should be the basis for rejecting such groups.
Okay.
Because you don't want to, from a legal standpoint, there's nothing wrong with it.
Interesting.
Absolutely nothing wrong with it.
All right. So, Kelvin, let me come back to you. We've seen people who've led very important conversation, at the youth level in this country. They led protests. They were on the streets. Some of them were even like sitting police vehicles, removing keys and things. All of that
them.
happened. You know
them, we know them.
Okay. The point is that following the assumption or the coming into office of a new government, we are not seeing the same level of, push. And let me give you a typical example. Galamsey in 2024, the Occupy Jolobi House protest, we saw the numbers. This government came into office exactly a year now, in the aftermath of the first, and we saw the numbers.
Yeah.
The criticism again is that it doesn't feel the same level of pushback from the youth point of view. Do you feel that for people who seek to lead these major protests, their standpoint affect the outcomes we see in terms of protest, in terms of their pushback against government and demanding better quality from government? Do you get that same viewpoint?
Oh, of course not. I think the NDC government had a honeymoon period for some time, which understandably so. But for people who said that they could not wait at all costs, there must be a state of emergency. And suddenly they are quiet about a state of emergency. You cannot tell me that is someone standing by any principles.
But they said that, to be fair, the effects of Galamsey didn't start now. It's a cumulative effect of all that has happened.
We agree. We agree. Nobody is disputing that. But at the same time, we also agree that it's gotten worse than before, which is obviously due to the accumulation.
And the pushback again with the Galamsey example is that at the time the MPP was in office, they weren't doing much. But now we have a government who's formed NIMOS.
Which government has done more than the MPP did?
No, so they say they formed NIMOS.
There was a 2-year ban on Galamsey.
Yeah, but the aftermath was even more destructive, so it didn't work. And
someone has not banned at all. So how do you say?
He didn't ban, but he's done NIMOS, for example.
But we did Operation Vanguard and other things.
He's called CSOs to a meeting to deliberate on the issues. He formed the, of course, I don't remind our viewers of that tragedy.
Blue Water Guards.
There's also Blue Water Guards.
I didn't see that support. They were dancing all over
but,
the place.
that was morale boosting.
Oh, cowboy.
So the point is that they've done so much within 9 months to not warrant that same level of angst.
They've done a lot of celebration and sword cutting. That's all. And then press conference.
Khalid, you agree that, people who lead these protests now, it seems their political affiliation is now showing, and they are not fighting back or pushing back as hard as they did in the previous administration. Do you agree?
But that is normal because I believe that they are now witnessing the commitment of government towards the fighting of Galamsey. When the
Let's
president,
not limit to Galamsey. I mean, there are other issues.
like I'm just saying because they have seen. Because if you see good governance, what are you going to demonstrate against? So they were demonstrating because they were not happy with the way the country was being run. Generally, a government has come to power. All our economic indicators are pointing towards the right direction. The government has taken a firm stand that they are going to stop illegal mining in this country. They have declared water bodies as security zones.
Yeah, but
nine months. I'm coming. I just because he
period,
mentioned
grace
9 months.
but when
Galamsey,
we did the occupied Jilobi house, for example, Kenya's water treatment was working. It's been shut down now. So if for nothing at all, Galamsey has gotten worse.
But I think there is data. I think there is data from the Water Resource Commission which shows that the turbidity levels have been coming down.
I'm not sure in Kenya where 10 districts have been affected.
But I'm telling you that I am telling you that the turbidity levels have come down. So I'm also telling you that the commitment the government has shown, it's not like the Frimpong Boateng situation where the minister who was in charge of fighting Galamsey raised up his hand and surrendered because government was involved in Galamsey. That's how they were making their money.
But what about your national executives?
I'm coming.
Your national executives.
And that's what I'm saying.
How's the
The
investigation
principle. That's what I'm saying. That
So if
you have
when I
good
listen to
governance.
persons like
Can I
Engineer
finish?
Kenashigbe,
Can I finish?
they tell us that they are
Why are you not allowing me to flow? My brother, let me flow.
You even said the blogger you liked was saying that your party chairman was doing
Let me
that.
flow. I'm saying that if you see good governance, you will not demonstrate against it
earlier in the
because
conversation,
when there was suspicion,
Yeah.
when there was suspicion that party officials of the NDC were involved in Galamsey, the AG quickly wrote to Yoko
Oh,
to
you were just
investigate
fanfooling
them.
us.
No, how can you call that fanfooling when they are under investigation?
You've been investigating since
You
now.
under Frimpong Boateng. Frimpong Boateng's report is clear for everybody to see. Frimpong Boateng has named people. He said party in Yasika.
But he also did say that NDC people
do you know
were
that
more involved
it was,
in illegal money
anytime
than
you
people.
see Baumier's flyer and
see,
poster
I don't
around, it was
want
the
that-
Galamsey
I
money.
don't want
Well,
that
they
to-
said party in Yasika.
Can-
That
I don't
was
want
the
us to
term that they were using.
politicize. I don't want us
And
to
they spoiled our
politicize.
water bodies. I'm coming.
Yeah,
They
but-
destroy, and then the government has come to power in 9 months. I've seen water bodies now changing color.
Which
I can
water
show
body?
you.
Not,
Which
not,
water
not,
I
body?
can
not
show
quite,
you.
because like I
Which
mentioned,
There are a
water
lot
body
of
is
them
that?
changing
They've
color.
become worse.
Not
The
Kenya
colors
State.
are
Not
becoming
Even
clear.
Deputy Force is
and
now
all that.
brown.
9 months is active.
No, the Kwanya.
9 months is
I'm
active.
coming.
If you go on,
Activity
if you
doesn't
go on
mean results.
Erastus page right now, on a daily basis is reporting.
Erastus-
9 months.
But Erastus is
Nine months
even-
is-
Erastus
nine months
He's
is-
not the standard bearer on
Oh
the
no, but hold
on
on.
the
On
field
Galamsey fight, on
or not.
Galamsey fight in
He's
Ghana.
he's a
Hold on.
reporter who has done-
On
but
Galamsey fight in Ghana,
He's not.
he's
the
an
storekeeper.
authority.
Oh, what are you
I'm
saying?
telling you.
So
But if a journalist
So-
has focused his journalism
so-
on a particular area,
So now you stop
a
work.
journal-
You stop
I'm
work
coming.
because
No,
Galamsey is
a
over.
journalist has
So if Erastus comes out
focused
to
his
say-
work on a particular area, he becomes an authority in that area.
He's not the scorekeeper.
And I'm telling you that
He's not
now
a
if you go
scorekeeper.
to his page,
The-
on a
the-
daily basis, he's updating Ghanaians on what 9 months is doing.
I can't accept this. I can't accept
So
that.
you-
So
Erastus has done enormously well in this space, but the point is that the turbidity levels, is what we judge.
Yes.
In Kwanyaku in the central region, 10 districts, when they open their taps, it's literally
That's what they left behind.
Galamsey.
And the government is
No,
fixing it.
no.
But that's what they left
So
behind.
when you are saying when you came to do gold board, what were you
In 9
expecting?
for
months.
9 months.
In 9 months. Government is fixing it. That's what they like. You've destroyed the thing for 8 years. Someone has come in 9 months.
No, we've had
And you
enough
are
of
saying
it.
that
We've had
the-
enough of
oh,
the
I beg
rhetoric.
you. I beg
Mention
you.
one
I beg you,
one
don't-
one river
don't do
one
that.
river
Don't do
that
that.
In 9 months, you
Don't
take
do
the
Don't do that.
credit for
Don't do that.
inflation hitting single digits.
Yes,
you
that's
take
prudent
the
economic-
credit.
and that's
take,
prudent.
You take the credit for
That's very prudent.
The forex,
Prudent
the exchange
economic
rate.
management.
No, I'm coming.
Yes.
You take credit for
with the reserves we left.
everything that seems to be going well for the
yes,
government.
yes.
You should take credit for Galamsey.
No, because it is clear that the exchange rate issue, there was a deliberate plan by the NDC government on how to manage the exchange rate. The first thing was that when NDC came to power, they formed the gold board, and that was the brain behind the managing of the exchange rate. That's the brain. So you cannot come and tell us that when you were doing gold for oil, what was the exchange rate?
Have you heard?
No, but hold on, when MPP was doing gold for oil, wasn't the dollar at 17 cedis? See, you told Ghanaians that was your way.
17
No, you told Ghanaians that was your way of managing the exchange rate.
The basis.
So now,
This one you have properly won.
What I'm saying.
yeah. I'll go it from the beginning.
No. So the point is that it's okay for activists to have political leanings and still fight the cause.
Like I said before, it's about principle. Yeah, I expect people. You are not free to mention names. But I expect them to criticize government.
But they're not doing that.
They are doing
because
that
they are seemingly
on somebody like Oliver's page.
Yeah.
If you go on a daily basis, he's on the AG consistently that he feels oral is failing.
But there are times he makes a post and then says that he's just spoken to the AG and that everything is okay.
Yeah, but
how is that? How does that mean results?
That's why I said good governance, because in a democracy we need voices like that. If a public officer,
so he and the AG will go and sit at the back and catch two and come and tell us everything.
I said if a public officer comes out to say, "Oh, I've seen your post. Let's have a conversation. Let me tell you what you don't know."
We
That's
don't
good
want
governance.
we want results.
That's good governance.
Ghanaians are asking for results.
That's why
You
they
spoke
have
a
charged
lot
Owari.
when you were in
Why
the position.
defend Owari? Why are you not defending Owari?
Was I happy?
No, but
I know, but
Owari is part of your
Kwegu, Charlie, put it all together for us.
Well, for me, I think obviously, again, it goes back to, you see, if an influencer or anybody else put himself out and say I'm this or that, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, society itself has a way of judging that person. So if you were vocal here and today you're not vocal, that's why Occupy Ghana got a flag.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, society itself will find a way to show you your smoothness level. So if you took a position like this under Party A, and then when Party B came, you toned down on that. Society will figure you out and tell you that, okay, you were doing all you were doing here for partisan purpose.
Like the Ghana Bar Association.
So at the end of the day, people must come out publicly, affiliate themselves. Because of course, if certain individuals affiliated themselves, then the conversation not even arise, because then you know where their political affiliations are. But again, it goes back to the point that people can be partisan and still be very principled about their certain position.
And for you, that is
so for me,
not problematic.
not
It's
an
only
issue.
Paul Adumochi
Who is
that
what?
is solid.
It's
on
only-
this matter.
No,
It's only Paul Adumochi.
The NDC person will tell you that it's only Kevin Taylor. It's only Kevin Taylor. That is solid.
on that note, your views are well taken. Thank you. So these are the big viewpoints from my guests who joined me today for this really important conversation on lifting the veil of persons who seek to lead communities, who seek to lead the youth on important national issues. Kelvin Jima, Shabir Khalid, and of course Kweku has been doing this with me all through. Guys, see, we have a country to build. We have a nation to, and work collectively to ensure that our development goals are met. Moderation is the key word I want to leave behind for today's edition of CDD Ghana's Youth Unplugged. Bye-bye.